Hey BCF, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Francisco, and I was the leader of Lafayette for about 3 years, a leader in Lafayette. I was in Lafayette all 4 years. I graduated in 2006. I went on to become an intern staff for 2 years, so some of you still might remember me. I'm answering the question, what is the significance of ethnic-specific ministries for me? I think it serves a very important purpose for all ethnic students, but I'll be speaking as a Latino man, of course, so you'll probably hear me talk a lot about Lafayette, but I hope that it goes out to include all the different ethnic students. For me, what it did, being in ethnic-specific ministries, it taught me a lot about myself as a Latino man. And the experiences of the Latino students at UCLA. I think coming to UCLA was different than what I expected it to be. I was excited to get away from the inner city. I think because my understanding of the Latinos were that they were either gangbangers or gardeners. It's horrible now hearing myself say that, but that was really how I honestly felt when I came to UCLA. But then being around white and Asian students, it was rough because I realized I'm not really like them. I thought it would be great, but I just felt like there was something missing. And I was really good friends with a lot of them, but there was just something there that I think that God was doing in me. And Lafayette was really the place that helped me see that God didn't make a mistake with me. He gave me my culture for a reason, and Lafayette was really a place that helped me understand that. I think as I learned about the history of my people, I learned about the suffering and the pain of the Latino experience, I began to realize why I felt out of place at UCLA. I was a Latino and I was outside my comfort zone, and I was in a place that where I saw a lot of injustice against Latinos. And I think God was bringing me to UCLA to teach me a lot about how to love myself and then how to love my neighbor. Because I've learned it's really hard to love your neighbor if you don't love yourself. So my first year was really rough, like I said, but I got into Lafayette and it became a safe place to ask dumb questions, and I asked a lot of dumb questions. It was a place to learn, a place to reconcile. I think it was often misunderstood as a Latino Bible study, but that wasn't what it really was. Lafayette was always meant to be a place that was a safe place to learn about the Latino culture, and for Latino students to ask each other questions, to voice their concerns, but also for non-Latino students to participate. I remember having friends of mine coming in to Lafayette with me and being able to ask questions and learn about my culture, and just help me feel more connected in the larger BCF context. And then I remember BCF would turn and incorporate those different cultures into large group. For example, we had ethnic students, we had the ethnic students lead a large group, and we even had one night where we celebrated Latino culture in art. We called it Express Arte, and it was really beautiful. We expressed Latino culture through art, through paintings, through sketches, poetry, dance. It was a beautiful thing, and I think a lot of the fellowship was served. I think also just being in Los Angeles, it's a predominantly Latino city, and having so few Latinos represented at UCLA is something that is constantly a struggle for many Latino students to see that, to know that we are misrepresented, that there's so many of us who are so capable outside the walls of UCLA, yet so few of us get in. That was really hard, and I think having ethnic-specific ministries really helped bring God into that struggle. That was something that I was very excited to do, because there's a lot of people who would say something about that struggle. There was groups on campus that would get political, that would get angry, but I think Lafayette was the only place that said, let's pray about it, let's talk to God, let's figure out what can we do as students. And one of the results of that was we started a summer project that some of you have probably heard about. It's called Border Conscious, where we would go down to the border and learn about immigration, and it was a very, very awesome week of learning. Ethnic-specific ministries, I think, reminds me of the passage in Acts where the Gentile widows get neglected in the passing out of bread, and so the apostles, they kind of appoint these Gentiles to be over the passing out of bread to make sure that no one gets neglected anymore. I think the ethnic-specific studies are the way that BCF can ensure that no one's neglected. and really ensure that they are learning about their neighbors and their brothers on campus. And I think as a fellowship, it's very important that we continue in that kind of in that vein, because it blesses everybody. So much so that even myself, once I left UCLA, I came to the inner city of Long Beach, where I now serve in a church called Fountain of Life Covenant Church, or FOL for short. I've learned to love the poor because I love, like I said, I learned to love myself. I learned about the pain of my people, the injustices, and the frustration, and I think now I can come to them with understanding rather than with judgment. I know that pain and I know that frustration. But what I also know is I know that Jesus is really good news, because Jesus has a lot to say about that. And I can bring that good news to the people in the inner city who are struggling with alcoholism, with drug abuse, with sexual immorality. I have the good news of Jesus that I learned at Lafayette, that Jesus knows that frustration, and I think that makes me a better minister of the gospel. And I really hope that Ethnic Specific Ministries continues to hold an important place in the BCF culture, because it was something that has radically changed my life. Yeah, and I pray that it continues to be a blessing to you guys. That's it.